hot and write the right rhyme. My people still hurt. I asked grandma if you retired, then tell me why you still working. She said, son, everything is not as you envision it. Walk strong in your faith and only trust your instinct. BMX forever. Cool P forever. X-Fact forever. Come on. BMX forever. Cool P forever. X-Fact forever.
Welcome back to the show. I go get my blood pressure up to deal with this bullshit. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Let's go through the car wash, baby. Let's go. I'm doing the funky chicken right now. Or the bump. Or the shuffle. Yes, sir. Can't remember which dance it is I'm doing, but it's one of them old dances. Yeah. Happy Thursday to you. Yes, sir. Hey, welcome back to the show. So that sounds a little bit like disco, man.
At the car wash. Working at the car wash, yeah.
Watching, and I'm just realizing, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Welcome back to the show. So I'm watching. A little side story here. I'm watching the second season of The Get Down. And I think I'm just on episode 3, and there's only 5 episodes in the second season. So the big, I guess, plot or storyline to this thing, and I'm not giving away anything. It's kind of like a documentary. So before you say stop telling us the damn movie, it's not like that. I'm not going to tell you the particulars of the series. I'm not going to get into the detail, but there's a theme of disco versus hip-hop. And remember now, this is the late 70s when hip-hop came around and talking about the Get Down on Netflix. And remember, there was this big thing where disco was the music of the time, late 70s, and that's the burgeoning, that's the beginning of hip-hop. And it was kind of like a power struggle in New York City about disco cats, you know, the John Travoltas of the world, and the people that were big into disco and disco nightclubs, discotheques, as they used to call them. And then this burgeoning, you know, culture and art and music of hip-hop. And it's very interesting, man, because this is how it really went down. If you ever heard Flash talk about it, like I've seen DJ Flash, Grandmaster Flash, talk about it on documentary after documentary on how there was kind of like, you know, you had to pick a side. You know, disco was real big at the time, but this hip-hop thing, man, was a monster. It was just being born, and it was going to be a monster. And obviously, hip-hop prevailed. Yeah. Hip-hop prevailed. Hip-hop prevailed. If you haven't seen or you didn't watch the first season of The Get Down, man, and you got Netflix, which most people do, that's why ESPN going through all of that trouble going through right now. But if you haven't seen The Get Down, man, you need to check it out. Now, it is kind of like a musical, sort of, kind of. Like, it's not all out Hairspray or something like that. But the musical aspect of it is hip-hop. You know, it's kind of like half and half. There's half hip-hop and, just like I've been talking about, is half kind of, in that whole disco scene. But it's real cool, very good story, very interesting story. African Bambaataa, Kool Herc. They talk about these cats and how they had different parts of New York City, the different boroughs. Grandmaster Flash is real cool. And the dude, I can't even remember the name of the movie now. Ooh, was it Fresh? No, it wasn't Fresh. I can't even remember the name. But anyway, one of the main characters, there's the little dude that's been doing a lot of things lately, man, in the movies. It's real good stuff. If you haven't seen it, man, recommendation from your boy, which I always give y'all great recommendations. Check out The Get Down on Netflix, man. Yes, sir. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Avery Bradley went off last night. That's right. Avery Bradley, man, scored 24 points to lead Boston to a 108-97 victory and a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series. Chicago's Dwayne Wade said after Bradley scored 24 points to lead Boston to a 108-97 victory and a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 series, you expect him to do what he does defensively. But he gave up 24 points. We gave up 24 points to him tonight. He hurt us offensively tonight more than anything. Isaiah Thomas also scored 24 for the Celtics, the top seed in the East. After the road team won each of the first 4 games, the Celtics won at home in Game 5 to earn a chance to eliminate the Bulls on Friday night in Chicago. A Bulls victory would force the series back to Boston for a decisive Game 7 on Sunday. Al Horford sighting. Al Horford had 21 points, 9 assists, and 7 boards for the Celtics. Bradley's 24 points were a career playoff high. Butler, who shot 23, Jimmy Butler shot 23 free throws in Game 4 and made 19, was 0 for 1 on Wednesday. And Bradley did a great job of playing good defense but not fouling Jimmy Butler in the defensive assignment that he had last night. So, the Boston Celtics up in this series 3-2. Remember, they were down 2-0 at home when they had Rajon Rondo. And a lot of people don't like Rajon Rondo, man, but this right here proves it. This is case in point that Rondo and his agent are going to be able to go and get some money off of, I don't know the details of his contract. A case in point that Rajon Rondo is a premier player in the NBA. This is all because they don't have Rondo. You better believe that. This is all because they don't have Rajon Rondo. This would be totally different. They clearly probably would have snuck and won one of these games in Boston and been up 3-1. So I don't know, man. Rondo really, you kind of see what you have when you miss it. What you miss when you had it. You know the damn saying I'm trying to say. Oh, I know what it is. This is clearly an example of, not knowing what you had until it's gone. I think that's the way that it goes. And Rondo, man, you remember they benched his ass a couple of times this year? Hoiberg benched him because of, basically attitude problems, I guess, the way they painted it. Remember he went back and forth with Dwayne Wade. And who was it? It was another player. It was Jimmy Butler, I think. He went back and forth about how those cats weren't leaders and they were veterans and they weren't being leaders. And it looks like Rajon Rondo's the only one to know what he's talking about. Ball award to him. Last night, man, in the other game, this actually came on first. The Atlanta Hawks and the Washington Wizards. Bradley Beal scored 27 points, and John Wall added 20 points and 14 boards, or 14 assists, leading Washington to a 103-99 victory in Game 5 on Wednesday night for a 3-2 series lead. Dennis Schroeder last night balled out of control. I keep telling y'all about Dennis Schroeder, man. They started to give him a lot of props last night. Who was it? Greg Anthony. Greg Anthony just fawned all over the fact that this Schroeder kid is the real deal. And broadcasting the game last night, he had 29 points, man, making a career high, tying 5 threes and 11 assists. But after them, man, Atlanta pulled within a 101-99 score with 70 seconds left. Then John Wall, man, with the 21-foot jumper, and neither of the teams scored the rest of the way. A career high, once again, for Dennis Schroeder. But it wasn't enough as the Washington Wizards get away with the win. Dwight Howard, who finally came out in Game 4 to play a good game. He had 16 points and 15 boards. Didn't play much in the second half last night, picking up his fourth foul with 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter, and his fifth of the ball, off the ball with an 8.5 minutes mark to go in the game. So last night the Hawks go down 103-99. The series is now in favor of the Washington Wizards, 3-2. It's a tough one last night for the Hawks. Don't be surprised if the Hawks come home and win. They're going to have to win in a Game 7 back in Washington, which is going to be a very tough task. Tonight in the NBA, you got Raptors and Bucks. Right now, the Raptors are up in the series 3-2. You also have the Spurs and the Grizzlies in Memphis. The Spurs are up on the Grizzlies 3-2 as well. In that first game, the Raptors and the Bucks shifts back to Milwaukee. So there's your NBA talk from last night and tonight. Yeah. Respect Rondo. That was the title of one of the shows a couple of days ago, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. That was the title of one of the shows the other day. You gotta respect Rondo. Hey, before I jump into the chat, man, make sure, and I quasi-mentioned this earlier, make sure that if you listen to the show on your phone, on Android or iTunes or whatever phone that you use, if you listen to the show on your phone and you listen through an app, make sure that you download the Doug Stewart Show app from your app store. That's where you're going to be able to listen to the show live. That's where you're going to be able to chat live as well. So make sure, and it's been updated, once again in the effort to try to get everything set for the big moving day. But it's been updated. So if you've already had it downloaded before, delete it and download the newest version. Again, there's a new version of the Doug Stewart Show app in your app store. So make sure if you listen to the show on your phone through an app, all right, make sure you download the latest version of the Doug Stewart Show app from your app store, all right? Yeah. Yeah. What was going on in 1977? The Saturday Night Fever soundtrack did not get an Academy Award nomination. I just talked about disco and how big it was, but evidently this was a big story back in 77. I don't remember. I was only 8 years old. The Son of Sam serial killer, David Berkowitz, was captured. Sam was his neighbor's dog who told him to do the killings. Nigga crazy. Nike's Just Do It slogan was inspired by the last words of Gary Gilmore, said right before being executed by a firing squad. What? Wait a minute. Let me read that again. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Did y'all know that Nike's Just Do It slogan was inspired by the last words of a dude named Gary Gilmore and the words that he uttered before being executed by a firing squad? Huh? If I knew that, man, I don't know if I would buy Nikes. Nah, I still buy them. Some fly sneakers. Who the hell is Gary Gilmore? Gary Gilmore was an American criminal who international notoriety for demanding the implementation of his death sentence for 2 murders he committed in Utah. Wait a minute. We had firing squads in the U.S. back in 1977? Let me read this. I'm sorry, I'm taking a little bit of time, but I got to find out more about this. It was an American criminal who gained international notoriety for the implementation of his death in the new states and avoided the problems in 1972 and been a cruel and unusual part of the Supreme Court previous orders. How do they talk about execution? Gary Gilmore was executed on January 17, 1977 by a firing squad at Utah State